Don. This is my wife, Elaine.
Hello.
We're from the United States, Alabama specifically for me, and Texas for Elaine. And we moved here 4 years ago. And it was a lot of work that Elaine had to do to get our move from Alabama to Boquete in Panama. She put together a spreadsheet and had about 10 or 12 countries on the spreadsheet, and we did the questions that a lot of people would ask going to a new country, the crime rate, the temperature, the cost of food, the cost of housing. And Panama is the one that jumped out. And we said, okay, that sounds good, so that's where we're going to go. So that's how we first got here.
We first started in Boquete because when we came here for vacation, I fell in love with that mountain town. It's just so beautiful and so enchanting. But I'm a mountain person and Dawn is a beach person. So we kind of made a deal that if he gives me 3 years in the mountains, I will give him 3 years at the beach. And so far it's worked out perfectly. And it is so much fun to experience all the sides of Panama that there is. There is so much to see in Panama. And we are clear on the other side of the country and down at the ocean instead of the mountains, and we're still only about 6.5, 7 hours away. So that's another perk of Panama, is you can see so much of it, and it doesn't take days and days to get from one end to the other.
Elaine and I now live in Coronado, and I'm getting my 3 years, as she said that she agreed to when she was in Boquete. But here in Coronado, a lot of people ask you, what do you do? You're retired, what do you do?
What do you do all day?
Yeah, and the reason that I retired was retire. And if I want to do anything, I do it. If I want to go out and play golf, I do that. If I want to go out and ride a four-wheeler, I do it. Or just sit here and watch TV, watch the ball game. Or sometimes, every other day I do walk to the store. But it's only 3 blocks away, so it's not a lot of walking that I get to do. But that's why we are in Coronado now, is the deal that Elaine and I made. And everyone has their priorities, and my priority was just to enjoy myself, and Elaine can enjoy herself and do all the things that she wants to do, because we're so close to everything here in Coronado. And it takes little effort, even though we do have a car, we do drive different places. And I guess another thing that I really enjoy too here in Coronado is I can go to any store, and I like to do a little carpentry every now and again. But it's minor stuff. It's nothing that anybody would really brag about. I can just go up to the hardware store, pick up everything I need, come back and build it on my deck. And that's what I like about this part of the country. Well, and I could do that also anywhere probably in the country here, but especially in Coronado.
One of the perks that I found about moving to Panama that I didn't even realize was going to be a perk was my health situation. When I was in the United States, I had a very high stress job. And when I left the United States, I was on 3 different nerve medications. And I was taking high blood pressure pills and cholesterol pills. And now that I moved to Panama, slowly I got calmer and calmer. The Latin American way of life is just so laid back, and my body just loves it. Now I take 0 nerve medication. My blood pressure pills and my cholesterol pills are cut in half. So it not only do you have great fruits and vegetables and you eat better here, but the actual Latin American way of life, the slower paced way of life, is just perfect. Perfect for my nerves and perfect for my health. You know, people ask about what is your worst experience in Panama? And I must say that first off, I did not take a Elaine tour. So there were so many things that I did wrong. One of them was that I got our first place to live in Boquete over the internet. And I saw the internet pictures and they were absolutely beautiful. I talked to a gringo that was, or an expat that was renting it. He wanted first month, last month, and security deposit, which is normal in the United States, and it's not normal here. But when we finally got there, none of the furniture that we saw in the picture was in that house. And we realized that those pictures were at least 10 years old.
Yeah.
We never had water. There was a big reserve water tank in the backyard. There was never any water. So Don would have to lug up the hill big bottles of water every day so we can have water.
Got my exercise.
Got his exercise. And then we realized that one of the reasons why we never had water is the water reserve tank was leaking, and it must have been leaking under the house, because every single morning we would wake up and in the kitchen and the laundry area there would be white fuzz that looked like cotton balls, and you could actually see them growing and you could see them moving. And once we saw that, and John would clean it up every single day with Clorox, and then it would come back. But we dubbed it the fuzzy house. So our first mistake was the fuzzy house. To me, the best part about living in Panama is the people. They are so warm and so inviting. If you try to speak Spanish to them and you just butcher whatever you're saying, they will help you, and they will do it so kindly. They appreciate that you are trying to learn the language, and they're just so sweet. We lived up on Volcancito Road in Boquete, and we lived right next door to some nobes. And we invited them over for a Christmas party once, and we had a bunch of wrapped gifts for them and a bunch of food, and we had the most fun. Those children had never had a wrapped gift and didn't know how to unwrap it. So we taught them how to unwrap it, and they learned real quickly how to unwrap a gift. But one of the parts that just touched me the most about that particular party was that we looked over and the 11-year-old girl was spreading cream cheese on a Ritz cracker, and she would walk over and she would give it to her daddy. And she would do that every single time he got a cracker, she would give it to him. So that kind of kindness, just that Christmas, they gave us so much more than we gave them.
Probably one of the things that shocked me the most was when we moved here 4 years ago. We realized that we didn't have a street name for our address, and we wondered, okay, how did we get our mail? And we realized then, we started asking around, and people said, well, we don't have a post office, and we don't have rural carriers to come out and give you your mail. And I said, wow, that is different. And then I started noticing on a lot of the streets, they didn't have a name, but we sort of named them by the potholes that were in all of the streets in Boquete at the time. And then we said, okay, we can handle it. So Elaine got busy, and she figured out how we would get our mail and how we could send mail.
Yeah, there's mail services around.
Yeah, there are, just wasn't a post office, because I was shocked over that. I guess a little more than anything here, because everyone else, all the Panamanians and all of the traffic stops, what do you call that? Where they check your license and check everything.
Yeah, just
a checkpoint.
Checkpoint.
First checkpoint I ever went through, it frightened me. Oh, did it frighten me? Because they don't have those in the U.S. that much, and if they do, then you're in trouble. You've done something wrong, or they'll find that you did something wrong. But the first one, I had everything, my billfold out, and I had even the dog out, showing them what that we were legal and that we wasn't doing anything wrong. And they were the nicest people that you could, at a checkpoint, that you could. They weren't haughty, they weren't gripey. They just said okay, and I've learned how to go through those without being frightened now.
People have asked about shopping, and I pretty much get everything I want, even in Boquete, and especially here in Coronado. You may have to alter, like in the grocery stores, you may have to alter your brands. You don't particularly want to buy Doritos brands, but we have found like the same kind of tortilla chips here. They're much cheaper and they're better. But clothes shopping for me is the most fun, because I am so close to Panama City here in Coronado that we have a group of girls, and we call ourselves the Coronado Girls. And we have so much fun, because what we will do is we will hop on one of the buses that's so easy to get on, and we go to Albrook Mall, which is the largest mall in all of the Americas. And we enjoy ourselves all day long. We shop, we eat lunch. On occasion, we've even spent the night and come back the next day. But in the malls in Panama City, you can get literally anything that you can get in the United States. And it's so much more fun shopping here than it is back in Alabama or in Texas, because we make an adventure out of it.
And there's about 3 malls on the way to Panama City.
Oh yeah, and we stop at all of them.
They stop at all of them. That's why many times they're gone 2 days. Utility expenses are something that everyone wants to know, that we talk to here or in the U.S. or other places. Want to know the comparison of what we had to pay when we lived in the U.S. and what we pay now. In the U.S., we had very, very cheap electric in Boulder City, right outside of Las Vegas. and it was cheaper than here. But then when we moved other places, it was cheaper here than it was there. And the reason Boulder City is because, like I said, it was there at the dam, and they had a contract when the dam was built that for, I think, 50 years, it would be at a very reduced price for Boulder City. Because Boulder City is where the people that worked on the dam, that's where most of them lived during the few years that the dam was being built. So they got a break there. But then in Alabama, it was more. And other places that we lived, the utility, the electric bill was more than it is here. Here it's even though we live on the beach in Coronado, and we run the air condition, it's still less than what we paid in other places in the States. So if people are concerned over that, that's one concern you don't really need to have unless you have 13 air conditioners and running them all the time. But we have 3, and we run them and use them a lot of the time. Individually, and we have been very, very satisfied with the utility bills here. One thing that I was pleasantly surprised was I'm on Social Security from the U.S. and the medical you can't use the medical that I have for the States here. And I take 2 medications, and albuterol is one. It's for my asthma, and with insurance in the U.S. it cost me $56. And here in Panama I was dreading it. I was dreading to see what I was going to have to pay. So we went to the doctor, great doctor, and we really, really liked him. And the visit was only like $15 or $20. I can't remember what it was. And I told him that I needed albuterol, needed a prescription. And he said, "You don't have to have a prescription for albuterol." So I said, "Wow." I said, "Well, just write it down anyway and let me take it to the pharmacy," of which I did. And I gave him my credit card, and I was thinking, this is really going to be a big price. It was $7.35. And I said, "No, that can't be right." And they said, It is $7.35. I said, "Okay." And then I take a blood pressure pill. And it's not that much of one, because I'm 74 years old, so once you get a little bit older, you have to take a few medicines, along. And it is over the counter, my blood pressure medicine, and it was, how much is it?
$9.
$9
a month.
And I just think, this is unreal. Now, we haven't had extreme emergencies or needed surgery or anything like that, so I can't tell you about it. But I can give you that personal experience that I've had, and I've been very well pleased with the insurance.
We can compare Boquete and Coronado and say from my social life. There is such a huge social life in Boquete, but ironically, I have a much bigger social life here in Coronado because all of us girls get together and we live so close together that we get together and we have lunches all the time. We pick different beaches and we go to the beach restaurants, or we will go to the famous Picasso's here, which Picasso is like the Cheers It's you go for trivia night or you go for a happy hour. They have drunk bingo. And I don't drink, so you can have Diet Coke at drunk bingo. But it's so much fun to be able to do social things here. And ironically, even though that we live right on the beach, most of the social activities that we do not involve swimming in the ocean. We may go walking and going to a bonfire at night at the ocean, but we don't swim in it a lot. But we still have so much fun. Dawn and I, our social activity that we do cada dia is every single night around 5 o'clock. We will bring our cocktails and our Coca-Cola outside, and we sit and we look at the sunset and we look out at the ocean. And it's just so beautiful. And especially when it storms and there's lightning all through the ocean and you can tell it's just miles and miles and miles away. It's just so beautiful that we love it.
Yeah. And in Boquete, there's a lot of functions and a lot of things to do there, from theater to the different dog training and the things that you can do with your pets. And there's hiking and riding your bikes, but it's up and down hills. And I have asthma, and I'm not too good at up and down hills. And even though we have an animal, I'm not a real big animal lover. So those things.
We have a Chihuahua.
those things is what I'm sure they have them here too in Coronado. But you're not pressured. All of our friends, we when we were in Boquete, pressured us to play bingo or play this or go, But like I said in the beginning, I came here to retire. I took orders from everybody for 50 years, and I only take orders from Elaine now.
We are now in a condominium that is 23 stories high, and it's called Coronado Bay. And it's got a gate where you have to announce yourself to get in. It's got different key fobs where each door is locked, so you have to unlock the door, so it's very, very safe. We are on the 13th floor, so our balcony overlooks, and we can see on one side the mountains of Altos del Maria and El Valle, and on the other side it's ocean. If we want to, there's 3 different pools here. There's 2 different pools right on the beach downstairs. There's an upstairs rooftop pool where everyone gathers. We even had a potluck dinner yesterday afternoon where everybody brought a dish, and it's just so much fun to do anything you want here. There's an exercise room that I have never been to, but I could if I wanted to.
And it's good. It's nice. It's a very nice one.
And it's nice. And even though I love Boquete and I love the mountains, and it was Dawn's idea to go to the beach, I actually have grown to really love the beach. And who knows, this could be our forever home. If I have any advice for anyone that wants to move to Panama, as first off, rent. The climate's changed so much, no matter where you are in this country, that if you find your perfect home, you may love it in the rainy season, and you may absolutely hate it in the dry season. So if you're going to find a perfect place, rent for at least a year. Do all of the seasons.
Check.
But for us, renting has another perk, and that is what we've mentioned. We have lived up in the mountains, and now we live at the beach, and we're free to do that because we don't have that mortgage. You don't have to be tied down to a mortgage to enjoy life. So that's my advice.
And another thing is that if we had someone like Jackie to go on her tour before we moved here, we probably would have ended up in the same spot in Boquete. Not the same fuzzy house, but would have lived in Boquete first. But we would have been exposed from that tour to just every city in Panama, every good sized city anyway. And I would recommend get help like that before you do just pack up and move.
We've been here 4 years and we've moved 10 times. If we would have gone on Jackie's tour, it would have saved us a lot of money.